course, we've got Paul Miles as well, our principal lighting designer and partner for Light Touch. So diving into this topic as well, even with yesterday it was mentioned that when it comes to lighting design or lighting in any regards, it's very similar to painting, the venue of course being the canvas. And I guess we're kind of blessed with entertainment and events in the kingdom that really there's so much opportunity to make the most of that as well, because we're kind of starting from that blank canvas with such a rich history as well as a diverse geography to tap into. So today I'd just like to go down the line. We can start with Bilal and we'll go down this way. If you'd just like to give a little introduction or background into your experiences and expertise.
Yes, definitely. First, thank you for having us here on board. And I'm happy I'm here with the colleagues. Today we're not as Martin promoting a brand. We're talking about the lighting technology of tomorrow and the effects in the industry. So we want to talk about what's in the future for the lighting industry and how it's going and how we're shaping the market. Since our founder, he was the one who pushed us to have to be the leader in the technology, the leader in what we want to provide, and at the same time taking into consideration the echo and the power and etc. Because what we're dealing with in lighting is also related to power issues. So that's me. I take care of the Middle East region, and we're here to have a nice discussion, hopefully.
Absolutely, and let's head on down to Hisham as well, kind of your experience and expertise and background with this.
Okay, let me introduce myself first. I first began in 1988 in my home country, Lebanon, with the leading TV station back then, LBC. We were used to have and make and create live TV shows, live entertainment shows on TV. We were the first TV station that made live entertainment televised, so it's very different from the live entertainment, on the concert side. Back then, we had a big experience having these live concerts and live TV shows. We moved to KSA to experience more than TV, to have concerts, to have live stage events, and I've been doing this since 30 years and more. That's it.
Wow, and down to you, Paul.
Okay, my name's Paul Miles. I'm the principal lighting designer and partner at Light Touch PLD. I've been in lighting now for over 25 years. I've been in lighting in all sorts of sectors, everything from, principally architectural, but covering everything from landscapes, from public realms, hospitality, entertainment, etc., etc. I've been an independent consultant now for 18 years, but I've also been on the manufacturer side of the business, so I've seen both sectors. I've also been on the invention side of the business with respect to engineering as well. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to a good discussion too.
Yeah, this is fantastic, and I mean, honestly speaking, like it's such a variety of different experiences and different approaches to lighting in all three of your, I guess, what production means to you. So I guess, I mean, the topic of today's lights, camera, action, but before we get to the action, I think let's discuss kind of the planning when it comes to lighting, whether it be for a live event or whether it be a permanent venue install. For all three of you, at what part of the conversation or what part of the planning does the lighting design enter the discussion? Is it near the development stage once everything's been built, or is it in the pre-planning with a designer once everything's still in a CAD? Or for you guys individually, where does that come in?
I suppose I better take this one, right? No, I mean, ideally we would like to be on the very, very first think process, but in the thought process of the project. Traditionally, we tend to come in after there's a base interior design, architectural design or landscape design, and then we are integrating things post an idea's been sold. But the most successful projects we've worked on over the years are the ones where we've actually been part of the overall thinking and the overall principle of the project from the very beginning, and then all of the integration in what we do is super successful, and it's actually more cost effective and it's more holistically designed, so everything already coordinates and is integrated. So it's a shame, but I would suggest 10 to 15% of our projects we're not on at that stage. Sorry, we are on at that stage. The remainder, unfortunately, we usually plugged on a bit later. But I do advocate to get lighting designers involved at the very, very earliest stages.
Yeah, and I can add to that actually we import the CAD files from the designers, from the engineers that designs the venue and the halls into a specialized lighting software, used CAD-based software. So it's like he said, it's entirely from the beginning, from the scratch. We look at the rigging points and the load capacity. We look at how the trusses are coming to be installed, and from there we discuss with the designers and maybe dancers or maybe the director to how it will be lit, and we are involved from the first beginning. Yeah, from the beginning.
So in principle, after the client has his idea, he provided to the lighting designer. The lighting designer wants to make sure that whatever the client wants, and his input also on the designs. Then our provider, as a technology provider, come later on that I need to achieve 1, 2, 3, and what is the latest technology for today? What shall we prefer to use, this one or this one? That's our role to be playing. It's like, again, what we're doing is something very nice. We're doing something that everybody see, lighting, so everybody see it. Either you see it properly, as David Gilby mentioned before, or you will see it like noisy and light pollution, etc. So we need to make sure that whatever they design, we need to deliver it correct, and that's our role as a technology provider.
Can I add something to that? Yeah. So basically what Bilal just said is exactly right. Define design, or what do you mean by design? Because there's all sorts of stages of design. So there's a very conceptual element to that design, the very initial idea, but there's still a design right at the end, and I think you just touched on that, Hisham, with respect to, it doesn't matter how perfect it's documented, how perfect it's installed or whatever, there's still a design element that still needs to be carried through at the end, and a lot of that is on the hop thinking, so you can actually evolve a design in situ, and then that makes the actual overall project better as well.
And very much echoing as well what we were just learning about before, how the fashion really follows the function of it. There's a purpose to it, and you can tell when it loses its purpose, because then it won't succeed like the plan.
Yes, and in that manner, in that direction, the lighting and everything that goes on stage has to have a certain meaning. So you cannot light a very nice setup, very nice cue, without any actual background meaning for this to happen. You know, the lighting has to have an abstract feature that enhances the content of the story, enhances the idea of the director, not only showing off our lights that it's very powerful or something like that. So it has to have meaning that complement the actual story and the actual content of the idea.
Absolutely, and like Paul was saying as well, like that's the intention is what's set, and the design is really more of a direction from that intention as well. But going beyond story as well, I love that you've mentioned story, but also reflecting on a venue or an event's values. Maybe Bilal, you might be the best one to answer this, but have you noticed in the industry any change or shift in mindset when it comes to more sustainable use of materials for products, or more sustainable options are being preferred for permanent venue installs? Because we do face that issue a lot with events that might be pop-up. It becomes very disposable. So have you noticed there's any kind of shift in the past few years when it comes to that?
I think Hisham can answer better than me in this. But again, from our part, we are also we have our experience as well. We go to events and we attend events, and the way we like the event to be as perfect as it is, using the technology and the know-how we have, we try to implement it from our experience as a user as well. So we like to be in the shows, not only doing the shows. But I think Hisham, you can answer better in this.
I can add that when you talk about sustainability and environment maybe oriented technology, I can say that LED-based fixtures are solving this problem. There's no more, consuming of electricity. And I guess the more the technology is advancing, it's giving us more miles, like we say, more miles to go ahead with the new features of whatever needed in the future. So it's not disposable anywhere, anytime.
And let's not forget the actual buildability of these products. So the circular economy with respect to using materials that are actually recycled in the first place. So having that as an initial outset and then having the longevity of a product that can be reused evidently will build towards that sustainability story.
So also in terms of products, actually today Europe is going to ban the companies that not to trade in Europe if they are not 80% eco-friendly into using the reusability of the products. In addition, didn't want to do any promotion, but we are the leader in doing this eco-friendly products in terms even in the covers, and we are only using recycled material for the covers and for the boxes, even for the plastic used in the products itself. So this is the direction where we're going to.
Even if you didn't mention maybe the lightweight fixtures that you have done.
Yes, lightweight products. And the power consumption, what we used to do 10 years ago when the power needed 300 watt, today you need 50 watt and better output. So with the technology advancing, that's the best scenario we're going for the whole society. This is the world where we're living at, and we need it to be clean and eco-friendly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's nice to see that that's not just something that's valued by a consumer or an attendee to an event, but clearly it's supported by the government as well. So it's kind of a natural shift. And in this specific industry, I guess we need to set the standard and lead for other industries maybe to even follow as well. So I'd like to kind of get a bit more of an understanding as well for you guys, or any specific experience you've had, maybe not just in terms of values changing, but what we've discussed a lot of throughout the expo as well is just the mentality or the expectations of the people that we are creating events for. How would you say that has shifted, or are there any ways that you've noticed that maybe lighting can be used beyond the stage? Maybe there are ways that it can be immersive, queuing up for a bathroom, or are there any kind of creative problem solving you guys have kind of faced with lighting? Yeah, I'd like to hand it over.
Sorry, I'm desperate to jump in now.
Yeah, it's yours. Go ahead.
No, literally, I think it's a common error when you've got a feature. And I was talking earlier, whether it's a cinema, everyone focuses the immersive experience on the actual black box itself, when the experience actually starts from when you walk in that initial foyer. And if you can build that experience and that immersiveness all the way through to the film itself, then there's much higher value and much higher revenue generating on the way through. And let's not forget as well, the experience doesn't stop there when the film's finished. On the way out of the cinema itself, there's another opportunity to revenue generate as well as finish off that total experience. That cinema is just a very, very small example of that. That can go with shows, it can go with any form of an event. And I found locally in the region here, I found Expo was a brilliant example, the Dubai Expo, That's really supported and helped a lot of the developers understand what the potential is with light, sound, immersive experiences. And it's been much easier to sell a concept for us because people have visited and experienced it themselves. And all of a sudden, I mean, it goes to the other extreme. We've had plenty of people wanting projection mapping in the daytime. And I don't think the appreciation of the complexity of achieving that is quite understood. But because they were used to seeing it in a black box at the expo. But ultimately it's been brilliant because it has given further exposure to the capability of light, sound, and even scent in some cases.
Yes, as he has mentioned, you know, light, sound, and screens and light and maybe camera. When you say immersive, I can only relate to the whole technologies, all the disciplines coming together. That's what I understand about immersiveness. When I see a scene of lighting, sound, screens, camera, stunts, going all together in the same queue, same theme, same ambience, I call this immersive enough for the people to enjoy and for the technicians to consider themselves inside this technology in deep. Yeah, I can say that he has done a well explanation of the immersiveness. Coming from the parking, I guess, until the seats, but I can understand well as well to have it complementary, joining all the disciplines together.
We need to highlight one very important factor, which is budget.
Yes.
To achieve all of this, you need to have the right budget from the clients, or else we have to design based on the budget of the client. So the immersive itself, which it includes projection, lighting, audio, broadcast, and many others, it is a technology that has a cost. The clever thing is how to use this technology, right, in not only in one place, it's also to make it a return of investment, and so the client can invest in this immersive experience.
It's actually a big issue, an appreciation of budget and where that budget sits. Most projects develop in a conventional way. There's a set budget for certain aspects of the project and so on. As you rightly say, there's a lot of investment that turns into revenue generating and is automatically a benefit for the project. But also where that sits within the project realm, we're lighting designers, but we embrace lots of third-party aspects, whether it's sound and so on. We interface in total building technologies and can combine. But then there's an ITAV guy that's doing exactly the same. There's also a signage guy doing something different. There's a marketing team. So the timing on these projects, unfortunately, is never synced. And if it was synced, I think the cost of the immersive experience can actually be reduced considerably, because you would end up with having one universe of information broken off into all of these different aspects and designed in Compass. So going back to what we actually said in the first instance, if all of those specialisms were on board from very day one around a single table developing that project together, that would nullify that confusion and everyone would be working towards the same goal. So it would end up as one combined tree and each of us just become a branch. So that, from a budget perspective, then makes everything super affordable, and guess what? Revenue generating is going to increase beyond.
Exactly, because we're not only technology provider when we are meeting from day first, designer, client, and technology provider. You can also have a say, and today many of end users, they are giving you a green light to give some advices and some recommendation, and which added value that you can do the job. And also, for example, there is this certain area, it will cost a fortune and it doesn't make big sense or doesn't make a good generation of money. So recently clients are hearing, and recently clients are also with a good experience to say yes or no about the ideas. So we shouldn't be like I'm doing a job, I'm selling, and it's a hit and run thing. It's something continuous. It's something we need to make sure that also we can maintain and we can do service, and we're there. It's running always for the client.
I've got a very live example, as in 2 days ago, literally 2 days ago, we were invited to fee for a project, and the project had a big media screen in front of this. I'm going to not give away the project, of course, but in a big vision glass, a big showroom window. And immediately they said the inspiration was a massive media screen, and obviously the rest of the building had to be architecturally lit. We immediately said separate it, right? Because you can't encompass the media screen within the process of the architectural lighting, because there's a whole different dynamic. And are you aware? Then there's going to have to be a content developed for that media screen to work. So then you now need to engage in another client team to then drive that forward. And then have you thought about the cost going forward of developing and evolving that? Has that been accounted for, etc., etc.? And in the end, we actually pulled back from that scope and said, look, let us do this. This will go on a conventional forum, and let's develop that media screen on a separate parallel. However, we would ensure, because it's already there, the relative requirements are provisioned, all of the space is provisioned to the servers, etc., and so on. And then you can then run the process in parallel, because then it's not going to stop either. So that's literally saying exactly what you just said, Bilal.
Yeah, I think you've all done a really great job of identifying a big challenge within the industry, which is that product knowledge, or understanding what somebody may be investing into and trying to monetize that for them. It comes obviously from your expertise, saying this is why you can't do this is why this one's better, but it's very much what you see is what you get, which is why I'm sure you've all worked with showrooms. That's never going to, we're in a giant showroom, so it's very much, if I tell you how good the light is, what does that mean to somebody who doesn't have the knowledge that you guys have obviously acquired over many years as well? So in that same regard as well, keeping it back into the kingdom, do you think that, I'm sure nowadays that a sound and audio engineering degree at university would be learning something very different from an audio engineering degree from, say, 10 years ago, because we are experiencing history's fastest rate of change, and this industry is really the face of that. Do you think there's anything in maybe younger talent or local talent, certain things that maybe universities should be focusing on, maybe certain trends, or, obviously the technology changes all the time, so you've constantly, every day is a learning day. But from your expertise, if you were looking at hiring a young Saudi local, what would you be looking for?
Actually, this is a topic, it was very important discussing this morning with there's something called Saudi Academy, okay, and they are trying to focus on this topic a lot. I said we have a lot of experience, because previously in Martin we had something called Martin University, and now there is Harman University for the company that we work for. And we can give from the experience that we had previously and from what we have today. Today, the first thing we did when we had an offices in Saudi is that we had the training facilities. It's very important to have your training facilities so we can give this education to the youth, to the young guys. This is a country of 35. Under 35, it's like the majority of the people. So it's a youth country full of energy, full of people who have the ability to learn, get education, and we want to give from our experience. I'm not yet that old, but I have 20 years of experience in this industry, and this is a good thing to give them the tool. So for us as a technology provider, we have the facilities. We're trying to connect with the universities as well, so we can give from our experience to these universities, and the door is open. We're doing this with the technology university and with the academy, Saudi Academy, and yes, we're there. So I think the government is focusing a lot, and the ministers are focusing a lot on this segment, is to give the education, is to make sure that the Saudis are having the full knowledge in our industry, not getting it from outside. They are also able to get it in here.
Yes, I think one of the challenges that it may be facing the economy or the market of the entertainment in Saudi is the education and training, because it's been not really long enough for them to have enough experience, enough knowledge, and it has to have an academic side, giving the knowledge from university first, then experience it on stage and making mistakes, whatever you need. But you have to get first the academic side, academic theory. I think yes, one of the challenges is been brought now on table, and Bilal just said that they are discussing this officially. It's promising that they are discussing this officially, because we need this education side to be implemented widely into the youth of this generation. Yeah.
Very important, Hisham, is that also we need to have hands-on. So you have the technology available for everybody, and that's what we're trying to do. First, now we're in Riyadh. I think next will be Jeddah and the eastern region, maybe more other cities to come. But yes, to have hands-on ready, that's our mission to do.
Just breaking away from the entertainment side, I think from a architectural lighting perspective, it's very lacking, and I think we need to embrace more in it, to be fair. And that's not just in the Kingdom, it's regionally as well. And I mean, we've offered as well, we've been in connection with many universities to try and support that process, even set up particular tasks and manage them, then getting the actual industry together to support as well. But that hasn't really gone as far as it could be, and I think some of the syllabuses maybe should be enhanced or to embrace a little bit of experience through it. Bilal hit the nail on the head. You can only learn so much from a book, and especially when it's creative elements like everything we've got in this room. It's only physical experience is going to give you that real education.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, we've been discussing as well how the hands don't lie. You know, it's one thing to be able to say, yeah, I know what I'm doing, I can do it. But once you actually physically do it, that's really the test of passion. Which I mean, clearly you're all very passionate, being where you are now as well. So have you noticed any other kind of maybe trends, so to say, in terms of design or in terms of implementation? I know. We often use other countries or rivals as case studies to kind of pick what we like, especially when it comes to, I mean, I'm sure clients always come when it comes to sales and they say, well, these people did this, so I want it bigger, or I want it better, or I want it louder. So have you noticed any kind of trend shifts of things that need to become available, or things that are just overused perhaps?
This is a question to you, Paul, but I have to comment on something that today in Saudi and in the Middle East, we are like an idol to other countries. Not anymore we want to do like what they did in US or what they did in England. Today my colleagues, our colleagues, they are asking us like, what you did in Saudi were like something we want to achieve it here. Recently we did a project called House of Hype. This is one of the biggest immersive experiences. It's available in Saudi. In Kaust you have the Islamic Museum. It's hologram. It's been the technology of hologram and immersive since 2009. So the technology is here, and the projects that has been there. Sorry, it's very loud. Huh?
They saw you start speaking, Bilal, and you got your own.
We can celebrate with them.
Big thank you to the headphones there.
Yes, of course. So, thank you. Very few people, I think, in Saudi who knows that. I think one of the earliest immersive projects, it has been executed in Kaust 2008. It is one of the very unique niche projects in terms of immersive and hologram technology. It's there since more than 16, 17 years. So yes, we are leader in this region. We are leading in many aspects, especially in our field. Thanks to our manufacturers that they are supporting us with the right technology that we can use it in the projects here. So, but your question was about design, so I'll pass it.
I like the way you just took, it's really your question, but I'm going to take it all anyway. No, but you're exactly right, Bilal, because previously it was, there's something over there, let's build it bigger and better. Now it's gone beyond that, and I think the inspiration and the drive to take take everything to the next level is clearly evident. And as you say, it's not just bigger and better. It's actually going beyond that. I was in a client meeting last week, and I was actually inspired because it was brilliant. I've never been in a situation where I'm always trying to inspire to do the next thing and everything else and drive, and it was amazing. It was a very early meeting as well. It's a master plan we're doing, and then the client was going, no, we want beyond, and it was brilliant. I was like, yes. I haven't asked him the budget yet, but seriously, I mean, it just even from a drive and a sense to go and do something innovative and brand new is brilliant. And I think that's what this region is doing, because the restrictions and everything else is not. I mean, Europe at the moment is quite sterile with respect to that innovation. They do pockets of art and so on, but significant developments and so on are way behind, I think.
Yeah, and in this matter, I can say one example that we did in our company. We had a show that was created, designed, and crafted from the beginning with a major UK companies. We did it here in Saudi, inside in our black box studios. We used so many features like mesh transparent screen in front of the audience, so they can relate into a actor dancing maybe on the other side. And we had the ZACTRAC technology. Maybe it's not the brand, but the sensors that are on the dancers itself. There was sensors following the moving head lighting, so the lighting was following them accurately as they go dancing on the same stage. So it was like new. I guess it's not too much new, but it was in Saudi the first actual dancing, sensors on dancers in live application.
And these are always the best briefs until the budget discussion does come up as well. I think what's really kind of special about what you guys do is if it's not the cutting edge, latest and greatest technology, it's using pre-existing technology in a new and innovative way as well. I think it's quite fair to say that in your fields and in your positions, it's not just tech, or it's not just sales, or not just project management or installing. A lot of it is also quite artistic as well. It's a blend between the two as well, and in Saudi especially, it really is that golden era of establishing the creative DNA, and you guys are all major players in that as well. So in terms of the design process, like you mentioned, they don't want to emulate, say, something from Europe or something from America and just copy and paste it. Saudi has the opportunity, the very rare opportunity, to introduce that rich history and to basically reintroduce itself to the world. So when it comes to lighting design and geography, does it have a big kind of influence? Obviously with outdoor events it absolutely would, but in terms of the actual content and story, have you noticed that there is a big focus on that in the kingdom?
Yeah, is that to me? Yeah.
To anyone, absolutely.
So from my part of the industry, very much the kingdom and the history of the kingdom is always influenced with a principal concept. But I was touching base on something you said as well during that statement with respect to cost. Sorry, I've got to go back to that one first. And it was, yes, I mentioned earlier about waiting to hear the budget, and you then mentioned about creativity doesn't have to be expensive. And unfortunately, there was a tradition not so long ago in the region that people were lighting things from a just-in-case principle, and there was a coverage of light just in case they needed it, and then they can dim it down and everything else. I feel education in the region and over the last 10 years alone, the exposure of many amazing projects, the trust is coming back, and also the belief in just putting light where light's required. And I think then all of a sudden, when that's considered, budget is not expensive, and then you're focusing, and it was mentioned earlier in one of the talks, You don't need immersive experiences everywhere. Immersive experiences can be pocketed in certain elements, and then part of that journey through whatever project it is, whether it's an external, internal, whether it's entertainment or even hospitality. The experience and the journey you need to manage when things pop, when you want people to slow down, when you want them to speed up, and then if you're smart with how that plays, again, it's not expensive because you're limiting the placement from it. But going back to the inspiration of traditions in Saudi, yes, 100%. And I've learned a hell of a lot over the last 4 or 5 years about history of Saudi, way beyond what I thought I knew. So it's been super interesting to use those. And not only that, everyone pigeonholes Saudi as one aspect. Saudi's huge, and various corners of Saudi have got different things to be inspired from. And again, I learned another one last week, which is amazing. So, yeah, I think very much so the projects and the understanding and knowledge of everything now and history with Saudi is really coming to light.
Yeah, when you say geography and having this feature, in technology, I think I can relate to Al Ola and Neom because they have done a sculpture, or let me say a hole made of mirrors that reflects the same geography. So they are enhancing the same geography, the same, fostering this sand or the scenery that is around the area. So I guess they are not using technology, and they are clever of not doing this. I think mirroring the actual nature around you is far better than attempting to destroy it or maybe make it worse.
Need to add, the biggest challenge is the only challenge we have here recently is the time factor, which is between the design and the execution. This is insane, So that's the only challenge we have at the time being, but we are able to do it, because you believe, you can't believe other than we will achieve, we will do. But if we have enough time to design and if enough time to deliver and execute, things will be better in terms of quality.
And I think we'd look a lot better, Bilal, right?
Yeah, I think the only guy who looks better is Paul because he's on his suit today. I'm used to him on the site,
No, I very much appreciate as well your kind of artistic approach to this as well, and about we're using lights to light up what is pre-existing and to spotlight and literally spotlight and celebrate what's there rather than color graffiti covering something that we want to see and something that deserves to be shown as well.
Deserve to be shown, yeah.
And you mentioned as well earlier on, just to kind of circle it back, about what immersive lighting or what an immersive experience means. Not necessarily on a stage, but just in how even audio can very much be immersive. And I think that's really the key word nowadays as well, to get people away from their phone or their goggles and into venues, whether it be physical venues. Digital venues are obviously popping up too, but I guess just going kind of down the line, like what does an immersive AV design kind of mean to you? Or if I was a client and I came, I said, I need it to be immersive, what can you kind of draw from that? What would that mean from your individual perspectives?
I think if I may dream, it would be like a center audience area, circle center audience area, and a stage coming all around this audience. Because in immersive light and sound, especially sound, we can have 64 speakers coming around these audiences, and when the actor on stage, on this circle stage, comes from left to right or from mid to center, whatever, the sound can follow. So we can have sensors on his microphone, like we did on lighting that follows. We can let the sound panning create a special space for this actor. If I may dream, I can suggest such a theater to be designed. Center audience and circling stage.
And amplify what's there and supernatural, literally in that way. So Bilal, what would you say if I was a client and I said, look, can I please have this immersive? Very broad, very general. What's that semantic for you?
I guess the main problem is that not everybody knows what is immersive. Okay, this is a major problem. So what we are doing is that kind of education, kind of demo centers that shows the immersive experience. So we invite the clients to do the immersive experience in our facilities, and that's when they know what is immersive. This is part of the education role that we're doing. Then the clients say not too much immersive. Some areas yes, some areas no, but that's the fact, you know. Again, it's a trend. So today the trend today is immersive. Immersive can be watching a tennis game and like the audio is following, and in terms of audio and lighting as well, when it follows and moves on. So projection, it's all included in the immersive. But at the end, what is the behind this? Why we need the immersive? What's the target behind the immersive?
Yeah, you're right. It has to have a meaning. Okay.
I want to ask a question about immersiveness and the word immersive. You don't have to buy anything for anything to be immersive. You can walk down the street and you're experiencing an immersive experience. So immersive is just basically using all your senses. The only difference between when we talk about immersive and what the guys just talked about now is if you want to focus on a particular content or element, then it becomes an immersive installation. So if you stand in the desert and you want to look at a Lola, or you want to look at just the sun setting, that's an immersive experience because your silence is actually contributing to that. So I think sometimes it can be overkilled a little bit, because if the content's not right and the purpose is not right and the vista point is not right, then you can create an immersive experience, but it won't be very immersive and you'll be spending a lot of money on it. However, when it's done right, and when you got that focus and you play with that focus, I mean, we're doing a job at the moment which is not only immersive, but it's inclusive. So part of that immersive aspect is actually trying to align with the inclusive nature as well, with every disability. So when you lose a sense, you can still enjoy as much as when you have the sense. So that's an interesting reverse of immersive, from a topic perspective. But I do believe everyone thinks that immersive has to mean everything, and it's not. You can create an immersive experience with one eye. It doesn't just have to be light; it could be sound.
I like what you said, because if you lose the sense, you enjoy more the other remaining ones, and especially when you have a full black in front of you in a certain scene, it would give you the sense of the audio sense. Maybe you can relate and you can immerse yourself and have a nice experience. Yes.
I think, and that's very much, I guess, a part of the design, which when we say design, we assume visual, but the design could be, well, how do we want to control the experience? Do we want them to feel the bass? Do we want them to feel the warmth of the light? Is there a sense of temperature? I mean, you were touching on as well about senses and how that is immersive, and anything can become immersive because anything can appeal to one's sense or not. So, I mean, honestly, I could talk to you guys all day, but we do have to keep things moving as well. But what we'd love to do is to open this conversation to the floor as well. If anybody has any questions for our panelists, I think we can get a roaming microphone, if that's all good with tech. Otherwise, I've got a good throw. Oh, perfect. I think we've got a question just in the front row here. Thank you so much.
Yasmin.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi guys, pleasure to meet you all. So I have a question. With your extensive experience in the entertainment industry, you've built a lot of stages, you've built a lot of, like you said in Silla, you were building very interesting experimental shows with the actors and the dancers. So my question to you is, within the entertainment industry, do you see a higher demand in theatrical events or in more like musical events, electronic music, DJs, etc.? So where do you see the demand is going, and where do you see a bigger potential in growth?
I'm going to set out this one.
Yeah.
Pass it over.
No, actually, both are demanded, like I can say, and especially if you are into it can be divided into indoor and outdoor. So if it's an outdoor event, it surely should have like a DJ setup, big screen, lighting everywhere. But if you are a family-oriented audience, you would go to a more indoor event with a much more natural whatever on stage is going on. And this is another part that we didn't talk about, that you have to preserve the nature of the event and the content on stage, not to have it as if it's an outdoor concert on stage. But the on stage should be like different in nature, different in nature. So I guess the demand, going back to your question, demand is both. It's whether indoor or outdoor, both of them are promising in growth.
I agree with you. Adding to this is that Saudi is investing in terms of having Opera House in King Salman Park. You have the Royal Art Complex. It's a big theater. Before also there is plenty of theaters that has been done in a lot of universities. There is not a single university that doesn't have a theater. And from early days, like in KSU and in Al-Imam University, they even had orchestra ready for the people. So what you have here, capabilities in theater is really high, but the demand is on both equally.
So to sum up, it basically all depends on the target audience, right? If you're more targeted towards the youth, it's like what Middle Beast is doing, for example, and if it's more family oriented and experimental, like an experience, then it's
Cirque du Soleil and the shows like similar.
Thank you for your time, gentlemen.
It's a very, very good question as well. Yeah, I think it's very much lighting design isn't, you got to think of where am I designing and who am I designing for. I'm not just designing it because I'm a designer and I like it. Yeah, there's a lot of homework, a lot of invisible work that goes into these thoughts, which are always the hardest to convince, I'm sure, as well. Any other questions in the crowd? I believe, yes, we've got one right there.
Hello everyone, I'm Niveen from Sign Technic Lighting Solutions. I have a quick question. Do you believe at some point entertainment lighting or smart lighting will replace the functional lighting? Like the standard architecture functional lighting, the people will be out of business at some point.
Just one point. We call it today architainment lighting, okay? We call it architainment, but it's not going to replace for sure. That's my opinion. I don't know about that.
I think it.
But you're getting really excited if it did. No. I think historically architectural lighting has taken inspiration from show lighting all the way through the process, and we're typically usually one generation behind, which is sad to say, but I think the gap's getting a little bit smaller, but there is no reason why technology from show lighting won't take over the existing light design, but I wouldn't suggest show lighting in its own entity. So we would be, we talked about, is the future going to be a totally illuminated ceiling where you can address however many nodes you want to achieve, I don't know, various mood settings or whatever. Is it going to be cheap enough to be able to do that in the future? I don't know, but I certainly think the inspiration from show lighting in architectural lighting will continue, and we will certainly get better and better and quicker and faster, and communication routes and everything else. So it probably didn't answer your question, but it sort of feeded to, I think, where it's going.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's definitely more of an evolution rather than a replacement, which is, I guess, kind of natural in every industry, in every role. Especially, we're not going to get too much into AI, but it's the same thing we see. Like, the calculator didn't kill the statistician. Like, there's the jobs still, they just grow. with these tools as well, which I'm sure you can all account for as well. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have. Thank you once again to our esteemed panelists. A big round of applause.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you.
And
been great.
thank you very much. If you'd like to keep the conversation going, please do connect with our panelists as well. I'm sure they would absolutely love to discuss with you guys one-on-one and keep the conversations going. And I think I'll get you guys to stick around so we can take a nice little picture together. The paparazzi are ready for us. And for everyone else, please do stick around, because coming up next, we have another think tank panel. It'll be Backstage Symphony, crafting onstage magic through the harmony of creative vision and tech behind the scenes. And this will be moderated by Toby.